here with Canadian guitarist Greg KEYES. Greg, how's life as a working guitarist in Toronto?
How is life? That's a little bit vague, but I guess I could say it's awesome. I grew up half an hour north of Toronto in a place called Newmarket, and being around the scene for my entire life, I'm really lucky that I've made a lot of connections in that area and that I work in that scene. And there is a Toronto scene, so for that sort of reason, it's great. Toronto. There's a lot happening in the arts in general.
Mm-hmm. Do you go out often and support other local artists in Toronto?
Yeah, I do for two reasons. One, because I got into music because I'm a music fan, but also for the second reason is that it's also networking, and networking is probably for me as a professional musician, networking is really important to do. And
the community, would you say it's really tight-knit?
Tight-knit? For certain genres of music, like for example, in the summer I do a lot of country music. And
really?
Yeah.
I love country music.
Country is
my thing.
Do you know could you name some country artists that
Of course I can name some country artists.
I'm interviewing you now.
Okay, alright, here we go. Alright. Just name any country artist?
Well, who do you like? Any Canadian country artists?
Canadian, I love the Small Town Pistols.
Okay, yeah.
If you know them, I've met them. I saw them at Boots and Hearts.
Yeah. I'll be playing at Boots and Hearts this year as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why didn't you play last year?
Because there's an artist that I play for named Lindsay Broughton, and that's who I'll be playing with this year. The reason why we didn't play last year is because we played basically the 3 years before that, and they sort of have a rotation. We're like, okay, you play it every year.
Right.
For me, Boots and Hearts was my first country festival that I played at, and it was amazing. Like, it was one of my favorite times of the year. I'm looking forward to it this year for sure. Are you going this year?
No, I'm not going this year.
Why aren't you going this year?
It was a little overwhelming, I think, because I've never camped before, and that was the first time I ever camped, and 4 days in a porta potty.
Yeah.
It takes a lot out of you.
Literally.
Yes. How did you connect with the audience? Because like you said, at Boots and Hearts, there's so many people. Everyone is all listening to the music, but then you're also kind of all off doing your own thing.
Okay.
So how do you connect with a huge audience like that?
That's an interesting question. That's something that I have to think about in general, because being a working guy, where it's my job, it's something that I talk about with my colleagues a lot. Because if you ever get sort of caught up in like, oh, it's my day-to-day thing, oh, it's my 9 to 5 or whatever, and then you're just going through the motions, it's almost blasphemy, because it's like we've been given this gift where we can play music, and if you go on stage and it's like, oh, I'm just going through the motions and I'm thinking about my dishes or have I done my laundry, it's like the worst thing ever. So not only at Boots and Hearts, but in performance in general, I have to really make sure that I'm in a state where I'm ready to connect with people, because that's what performance is all about. It's not about just playing music, not just like knowing the parts and not making a mistake, but if you don't connect with that person in front of you, I feel like you're only doing half the job. Mm-hmm. I have like sort of a routine that I do for myself, and then I get together with the bandmates and we kind of pump each other up. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What got you started in guitar in the first place? I
turned 12, I hit puberty, and I wanted girls to notice me. And there was this guy in my grade who like all the girls liked.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I was like, you gotta give me some advice, like how are girls gonna notice me? And it was like this Napoleon Dynamite moment where he was just like, girls like guys with skills, man, you gotta get a guitar. And that's it. I took his advice. I was just like, get good at guitar. And it totally worked, yeah. That's how I got into it, but then I started to find my passion for it later on.
How would you describe your musical style?
My style in particular, I grew up playing a lot of rock music, so even though I'm very busy as a country artist and I play a lot of soul and funk and R&B and all these different things, there's always a hint of rock in there, if you can't tell by the tattoos.
I noticed. Now I know you like country, and you do a lot of country. And you also mentioned that you were in a Canadian pop band, so Neverest.
Yeah.
And you were a guitarist for Fifi Dobson
Mhm.
as well. Do you think that working with all these different artists has kind of influenced your style?
Yeah, absolutely. Fifi Dobson was my first big gig, so definitely shaped me as a player as far as understanding how to be a professional guitar player in the contemporary world of music. And Neverest is another example where it shaped me in the sense that I did a lot of backup vocals and the same things that I did with Fifi Dobson as far as using in-ear monitors. If you're not used to using in-ear monitors, it'll really mess you up, because you get this direct signal of your voice and you get this direct signal of your amp and this direct signal of the band, and then you can't, like, for example, there, like, you could be right here,
Right.
and if there isn't a microphone on you, I won't hear you. And it's a really weird thing, because like the crowd will be cheering and I can't hear them. You know?
Right.
So we were discussing that whole connection earlier, right?
So do you miss out on the energy from the
At
audience
first, yeah. The first time I did a gig with Neverest, I got off stage and I was really sad. I was kind of like, I felt like I'd done something wrong, and it was because I didn't get that connection with the audience, because I wasn't used to in-ear monitors, and I had to get used to that. I had to figure out how to connect with an audience without hearing them.
How many guitars do you own?
You know what? People ask me all the time. I gotta count. At one time I counted 14, but that counts like my mandolin and like campfire guitar that I don't really play. I probably actually play maybe 7 or 8, and I think I own, if you count stringed instruments in general, so like my mandolin and stuff like that,
Right.
I'm over 14 now. I have at least 15 or 16. I think I have a problem.
No, you don't have a problem. You said you were a big Backstreet Boys fan.
Yeah, you know what, I was. Sorry, was there a second part of that question?
Well, it's okay. You can take over if you want.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I was a Backstreet Boys fan, but I still am a Backstreet Boys fan. The pop world, as I'm sure everybody knows by now, there's teams of writers and stuff like that. Max Martin is the big name, and he's a genius writer who does like the latest thing that he was a part of was I Can't Feel My Face, which was The Weeknd. So The Weeknd co-wrote that with Max Martin, who wrote a lot of the Backstreet Boys stuff. And he's just a genius writer. So when I listen to Backstreet Boys, I'm just like, this is just amazing songwriting. But at the same time, there's also 5-part harmony and, you know, the showmanship of it. They took a lot of that Motown stuff, like, that I love, you know, the Jackson 5 kind of stuff, and they sort of like adopted it into the pop realm.
What have you learned from them, from seeing their performances?
2 things in general that I really picked up from watching the Backstreet Boys thing was how they connected to the audience, and the business side of it is really, really good. And I guess it's sort of something that, like, I'm sort of being shy about talking about it because it sounds a little bit extra musical. It's not about the music, but it is part of it. Like, the music business is a business, and something that the Backstreet Boys do really well is the business aspect of it. Howie D in particular is somebody that I know very well because he was the manager of Neverest. And the way that he frames his conversations, the way that he does interviews, like, for example, you're interviewing me right now,
right.
Like, you asked a question about something, he would be smart enough to work in the fact that tomorrow I'm playing so-and-so, right? The banter side of things, they are the best. You know, like, I grew up doing a lot of rock, and I could go see a loud rock band, and nothing is louder than a Backstreet Boys concert. Like, somebody say, like, oh, I just saw Tool and it was the loudest concert ever. It's like, no, you have not been to a Backstreet Boys concert. And the reason why is
the screaming
you
girls?
got it. Yeah, it's the screaming girls, and they connect with them so well.
And what was the very first song you taught yourself how to play?
Green Day.
Oh,
yeah.
What song from Green Day?
Do you have the time? What's the name?
Oh, Time of Your Life?
Nope.
Oh.
Let me get to the chorus and I got Basket Case. Basket Case. Green Day and Offspring were the two bands that I had, and I had to learn those songs. And I went into my guitar lessons.
It's interesting to think back to like your very first CD. Mine was Spice Girls.
Who was your favorite Spice Girl?
Posh Spice.
Posh Spice, I knew it.
Did you? Or were you gonna say Baby?
I was gonna say I knew it.
No matter what.
Yeah. Mine was Baby. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah. Was it a blonde thing? I don't know. I feel like I might like Posh more now. Yeah.
Well, everyone likes Victoria Beckham now. How can you not?
Yeah, exactly. I'm a little jealous as well. Yeah.
Jealous
Beckham.
of who?
Of Victoria. I'm sorry.
Of Victoria
Yeah.
or David Beckham?
Hey, I'm a straight guy, but you know what? He plays soccer, he's handsome, and he's rich. I mean, I get it. Yeah.
And he's a good dad.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Greg.
Are we gonna leave it on that? Are we gonna leave it on my man
Yes.
crush for Beckham?
Is that your number one man crush?
You know who my number one man crush
Who?
is? Jared Leto. Like I said, I'm a straight male, but I recognize beauty when I see it.
Jared Leto, David Beckham.
Yeah. Okay. That's where we're gonna end.
All right.
All right.
We won't end it on that note. Thank you so much. You've answered all my questions, and now I have one big kicker for you.
What's that?
You ready?
Yeah, I'm a little scared, but okay.
You should be scared.
Yeah.
Can you teach me how to play guitar?
Let's do it.
Okay, so what is the first thing I should know? I've never played an electric guitar before. I think I've held one, but I don't know.
Yeah, I guess the first thing you should know is basically how to hold it.
Okay.
You're
So
already
how do
doing.
you hold a guitar?
You're doing good already in the sense that you're not doing this. This is sort of the natural sense is people want
Really?
to look at what you're doing, right?
Okay.
So I guess most people know to not do this, but they'll do something like this. Where
Oh,
the angle like
like
that, and then you'll look over. This is like the beginner like position where you angle it this way, and then you look over like that. So
Okay, well we don't want to do that.
yeah, so the first thing that you're already doing correct is just holding it straight up like that. Also, avoid pointing it down. It should be at least parallel. And even better would be if you can angle it up just slightly.
Oh.
And then I guess the second thing that I would say would be like talk about the strings in your fingers. So it counts from the bottom here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
And then your fingers count 1, 2, 3, 4. And then these spaces here are what we call the frets. So the first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Are you scratched? Like, you have no idea what I'm talking about, or do you already know this stuff?
No, you're teaching me.
Okay, so that was like, you know a little bit, but you want to hear me say all this stuff.
Sure. Well, no, like I assume that I don't use my thumb, or do I use my thumb ever?
You actually use your thumb always, but not for fretting.
Oh.
It's your thumb should be positioned on the back, and that's a really good question because sometimes beginners do this whole like tennis racket thing where it's like I'm holding a
Right,
baseball
like
bat,
that.
yeah, and you want to grip it, and you want to avoid that. If I said put your first finger on the first fret of the first string, what would that be? Yeah.
Right there.
You got it. Yeah. That's your basics 101.
All right.
Well, we can start with that note. Want to play it?
Okay. So what? I press it down and use the pick,
Yeah.
and you just like that.
Yeah, nailed it. So, when you play single notes, you want to play on the tips of your finger as opposed to playing on the flat part. So the more that you can press in, hence why you want to have short nails, which you have.
I do, yes.
Yeah. There you go.
That's awesome.
The closer you can get to the frets, the less you have to push down. So the more so that you are in the middle of this area, it works, but you have to push harder. Whereas if you get the opposite of what you're doing, yeah, there you go. Yeah, but if you get on top of it, you'll mute the note out. It'll sound like this if you get on top of it. So the closest that you can get without actually touching the metal fret is the ideal spot. I guess we can try some chords. That's probably the
chords are fun.
The more fun sort of thing. Okay, so first finger right here.
Right there.
You got it. So
Okay.
that's fifth string. Actually, we could even start with that. Just do that. Can you play that note? Just
that note?
Yeah, just hit that one. Now, can you hit these two strings?
While I'm holding down the second.
Yeah.
Or...
Nice. That's an E5 power chord. You can play punk rock or Metallica now because it's a lot of stuff is E5.
Cool.
Ooh, I have an idea. Try this.
What? So move it.
Yeah. So you just went a little too far. Perfect. And then go up here.
Here.
And then go. James Bond. There you go.
Ooh, 007. Sorry, but I like James Bond better than punk rock. Alright, well, I'm gonna do one long swipe.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it.
I guess we call it a strum.
Strum, okay.
But I like swipe. Let's go swipe.
Do I need to press anything, or just
Yeah, you can do an E minor chord. So do the first one that you just did.
right there?
Now, if you put your second finger directly under it like this.
Like that?
Yeah, and then you can hit all of them. That's
Okay.
E minor chord.
Alright, here we go.
Very natural.
Well, thank you. I want to end on that.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, Greg.
No problem.
I really appreciate this, and good luck with everything. Go to Boots and Hearts, people. See Greg.